What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to TD Fans Talk, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Thank you so much for waking up with TD in the morning. We are live. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Make sure y'all hit that like button on your way in the building. Yes, rise and grind, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on, y'all? Week 1 of football. It is a wrap. Week 1 of football is in the books. I'm going to give y'all about a minute to come in the room. Hit that like button, guys. Give me H2O together. Yes. I see y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. Coffee and Dolphins. Oh man, good morning. Good morning. On my way to uni. Uni. You gotta elaborate on what they mean. Y'all getting stomped next week. A lot of them Buffalo Bills fans showing up. They Buffalo Bills fans are not happy right now. Ain't nobody in the AFC East happy right now, man. But the Miami Dolphins lead the division. We did what we had to do. Nobody else in our division did what they had to do to start the season off right. Everybody in our division is already eliminated from the playoffs unless they show otherwise. Shout out to the homie Breeder G, said en route to work with TD. That's what's up, man. Be safe on your way, bro. Be safe on your way. All right, man. So we're gonna start out by giving a recap on the week with things that happened around the NFL. Then we're gonna talk some more Dolphin news, some things that's going on with Miami. And then I'm going to let you know what the agenda is for today and tomorrow. I've been working really, really hard on the Miami Dolphins updated spreadsheet so that you all can see how each individual player did on our team and how they're ranked. And it's coming along very well. I should be finished today after this morning show. It'll probably take me another hour and I'll be done. Then I'll start doing streams about each position group and the team as a whole so that you can see the grades based off of PFF. I know a lot of people don't use PFF as the gospel, but most people do for the simple fact that they break down the film. They actually look at every play. They tell you, all the details, like I told you all yesterday, you might have a player that was ranked 60 in the game, which is somewhere around average, and you may see that the offensive lineman may have been 80 in pass block, but 40 in run block. So it's good for us to know all of these details. All right. So recapping the week, ladies and gentlemen, we all started the week off with the Dallas Cowboys versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One thing I will tell you, man, that game did not disappoint. In that game, Dallas actually surprised us. The Dallas Cowboys, everyone thought that they would get blown out in that game. The defending champs in week one came in. They looked pretty sharp. But Dallas matched them stride for stride. But at the end of the day, the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to have to get better on defense. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all they're going to have to do is continue to sharpen their tools. It's that simple. I think Dak Prescott carries the team this year. I think Ezekiel Elliott takes a step back in regression. And Tom Brady is picking up where he left off. It's just amazing how he can continue to play so well at his age. And listen, at the end of the day, I believe Tom Brady is going to end up going down, as the GOAT of all GOATs. I really do. I mean, what he's doing is phenomenal. Moving along, we had the Eagles versus the Falcons. Listen, I haven't watched much of this game, but I will tell you that rookie Jalen Hurts, not rookie, but Jalen Hurts, listen, he's showing Philadelphia that he is their franchise quarterback. Of course, he has to do it on a consistent basis, but he got his weapon in DeVonta Smith. And, 264 and 3 touchdowns is impressive for a young player. His team loves it. The Falcons, I don't know what's going on there. It's like they're picking up where they left off last year, just getting demolished, putting up only 6 points. I told y'all before the draft, I said if they were smart, they would go ahead and trade Julio, which they did. Congratulations. And they would trade Matt Ryan and everything good on that team and go ahead and start their rebuild early while those players still have a tad bit of value left in them before people start looking at them as bums. Because I'm telling you now, there would have been several teams that continue to struggle with their quarterback play that would have potentially brought Matt Ryan in to lead their team. The Washington football team might have been one of them. It might have not been Fitz. And Fitz is out for 6 to 8 weeks for Washington. But hey, The Falcons, it look like they're going to have another high draft pick if they don't get their act together, because I can't believe this. But it is what it is. They're not doing nothing but picking up where they left off. Rise up, TD. I know, right? They're not doing nothing but picking up where they left off last year. And it looks like they're not going to be too good again if they don't turn it around ASAP. One thing that I never checked out that I want to look at real quick, Kyle Pitts. I never looked at how he did in this game. So let me take a quick look. Kyle Pitts, 4 receptions, 31 yards, a long of 18. So those are rookie tight end numbers. I would expect it at least double that production with his value coming in. I would definitely have expected double that. But again, the Falcons, they need to tighten up, man. They need to tighten up. This is just not looking good. But the Eagles, they own their division. They're leading the division, and they did it in a beautiful fashion, putting up 32 points. All right, moving along, man. I think this is one of the games of the week. There were 4 games of the week, which that's why I love the NFL. There were 4 games that were just crazy. And this one here, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Buffalo Bills, I love it. I love it. I love it, man. The Buffalo Bills shocked me with their defense starting the game. They held the Steelers to 0 points coming into halftime. But the Steelers also held them to 10 points, and that's actually not bad either. You know, especially with a high-powered offense like Buffalo, to hold them to 10 points by the half, that's a good showing. They had a lot of back and forth. They put pressure on Josh Allen, and they played a lot of man-to-man coverage in that game. And I'm telling you, I tell people this all the time. That's all you got to do with quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, all these type of quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, even our own Tua Tagovailoa, man-to-man, send pressure, tight coverage, and they have to be perfect, and it's not easy to be perfect in this NFL, especially when you don't have as much time to throw the ball. The Steelers, they have the personnel for it. Only a few teams do. But they put it on but the Buffalo Bills. After halftime, they came out and they put 6 points up, and then they shut Buffalo down to 0. And that's where the game started to shift, and it was very impressive. And it was just a roller coaster going back and forth with punts and turnovers. It was crazy, man. And the Steelers just took off in the fourth quarter, scoring 17 points. That weak Buffalo defense finally showed itself because it started the game pretty nice. But it ended up showing itself by allowing 17 points in the fourth quarter, and they only got 6 points in return. And both of those were field goals. So the Pittsburgh Steelers literally put those clamps on at the end of the game. They put those clamps on. And listen, man, for Buffalo to only score 16, that says a lot about Pittsburgh. And really, the truth is they're picking up where they left off last year. Some of y'all may say, well, what do you mean left off last year? They lost like almost every game for the last 7 games. Their defense got depleted last year in injuries. Most of their best defensive players, like 4 or 5 of those guys, got hurt last year in the defense. And then it was just downhill from there. They are their defense, and their offense, sometimes they can do enough. They were undefeated up to that point. So looks like they got their team back, got some health on their side, and they put it on Buffalo, and that is so beautiful, especially if you're a Miami Dolphins fan. This is what we love. This is what we need, and this is what we'll take every time. We just want Buffalo to lose every week, and they have Miami this week. We'll talk about that starting tomorrow. They got Miami this week, and we got to take care of business, man. We have to take care of business. All right, so Buffalo trash. They can't run the ball. Josh Allen exposed. Josh Allen also picked up where he left off last year. Not for the regular season, but the AFC Championship game. This was the exact same type of performance that he put up in the AFC Championship game. 59% completion, 270 yards, and a lot of it trash time, and 1 touchdown. That will never get it done for Buffalo because their defense isn't good enough. Their defense isn't good enough. He's exposed. He's trash, and I can't wait for tomorrow night on the round table to talk my talk to all of them bums. All them bums. All right. Let's keep it going. Vikings, Bengals. Man, this was a thriller that actually went to overtime. The Vikings, I respect them, y'all. Maybe I give them more respect than they deserve, but I respect the Vikings. I mean, their quarterback, Kirk Cousins, he's a good quarterback. He can air it out. He can get yards. He can get touchdowns. That kid, Mike Thielen over there, and oh my gosh, they have the weapons. They have a lot going for themselves. And listen, the NFL is how you start games, man. The NFL is so important how you start games. And they put up 0 points in the first quarter. They put up 0 points in the first quarter. And I'm going to tell you now, their quarterback, he had a great day, 36 of 49, 351 yards, 7 yards per average, 2 touchdowns. But they didn't run the ball well. Dalvin Cook, 20 carries for 61 yards, 3.1 per carry. That's just not going to get it done, especially the way that team is built. But they had a lot of production in the wide receiver group. Adam Thielen, 9 receptions, 92 yards. And he got 9 receptions on 10 targets. KJ Osborne, 7 receptions for 76 yards, only 9 targets. So they caught the ball at a high clip, but they needed a little bit of help in the run game. And they also turned the ball over. They fumbled the ball, and they lost it once. That's not going to get it done. You cannot turn the ball over. That's kind of what games, sometimes that's what they come down to. Cincinnati did not turn the ball over, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Burrow didn't have an interception, and no back had a fumble. No back had a fumble. And see, one possession is what can get you in a game. You turn the ball over and you fumble, that's all it takes for you to lose a game, and the other team plays clean football. But Burrow, the young quarterback, was very efficient. He was over 75% completion. I don't know what these young guys are killing it. Burrow over 75% completion. Mac Jones is crazy, man. 261 yards, which is a solid day. 9 per reception, 2 touchdowns. Now, the problem in Cincinnati, they're going to have to do a better job protecting him. The man got sacked 5 times and 44 yards. 5 times and 44 yards. Everybody, we're Dolphin fans over here. Everybody complains about how much our quarterback is under pressure, blah, 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 blah. These other team quarterbacks are actually going down. These other team quarterbacks are actually going down. Our quarterback only got hit 3 times and never got sacked. And Joe Burrow's getting sacked 5 times for 44 yards. Stop complaining about the Miami Dolphins O-line. Their quarterbacks out here doing more with less, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Burrow sacked 5 times for 44 yards. That Minnesota defensive front gave them the business yesterday. That defensive front gave them the business. The man was hit 8 times. Joe Burrow got hit 8 times. Our quarterback got hit 3 times in the whole game. Do y'all know that? Tua, 0 sacks, only got hit 3 times. And one of them shouldn't have even been a hit. That interception, which he should have been, threw it away and avoided that massive hit. That was a massive hit Tua took. Massive hit. Everybody just keep on complaining. Tua got sacked twice? I got to go look at that. I don't remember that. But okay, if he got sacked twice, it still ain't nearly what these other guys are going through out here, y'all. It just ain't. It just ain't. That's why I don't subscribe to all that talk people keep having about, our O-line. Man, O-line struggle with these D linemen in today's NFL. It's just how bad do they struggle. Our O-line, in my opinion, may have fared a lot better than some of these rookie quarterbacks. But I will say this, regardless, Joe Burrow got the W in overtime. 27 points by the Bengals, 24 by the Vikings. Man, that's solid football, great game. They went up against a great defensive front. And I'm going to tell you, they still were able to get the victory, man. Cincinnati's headed places, y'all. Cincinnati, the Bengals, they're actually headed places. So we'll see how that continues to go, okay? We'll see how that continues to go. Somebody said he evaded better. That's a lie. Tua actually didn't even get out of the pocket much at all. And when he tried to, he actually he actually got hit and threw the ball away. He didn't actually. That's one thing about yesterday's game. I give Tua credit. He actually knows how to escape and get out of the pocket. Yesterday, he never escaped. He never really escaped. That was not the story yesterday. All right. But we'll see. Two different offenses, TD. I mean, I don't care. I don't care. I wish the all-22 was out because when I've watched some of the regular game film, we left more than we think on the table. We left some meat on the bones, but we'll get to that later. Some of y'all got to see it to understand, all right? And they're not releasing the all-22s until next week, I think, which sucks because I wish y'all could see it now, all right? Moving along, the 49ers versus the Lions, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, this game was just a straight-up point fest. You know, the San Francisco 49ers still dealing with Jimmy Garoppolo. But, hey, it was enough to get a victory. But I'll tell you this, man. Jimmy Garoppolo, he definitely can put up some yards. But at the same token, 41 points, he had a lot of help all the way around. That run game got it going and everything. San Francisco, I think this was a complete offensive effort. The defense gave up a lot, though. So Garoppolo, 17 of 25. 314 yards, 12 per, only one touchdown. He was only sacked one time for 8 yards. Really strong day. Trey Lance gets him one play. He goes 1 for 1 for 5 yards, and that's the Trey Lance package. All right. But they got help on the ground. Elijah Mitchell, 19 carries, 104 yards, 5.5 per. You know, that's a strong help on the ground. And every team would like 100 yards for rusher. Every team would. And they got that Sunday. All right. They also got help in the receiving game. Man, Deebo Samuels was a beast, y'all. This man had 9 receptions on 12 targets for 189 yards. 189. He ate 21 yards per catch and a touchdown. He hit him for a 79-yarder on one of them plays. Just beasted, man. And George Kittle added a little bit of help with 4 receptions for 78 yards on being targeted 5 times. So that offense was moving and clicking. They were moving and clicking. Now, one problem with San Francisco, this is why I feel like San Francisco might be a lot better than what they showed in this game, even though they won 41-33. They fumbled the ball 3 different times, and they lost all 3, y'all. Luckily, Garoppolo didn't throw any picks, but they fumbled the ball 3 times and lost all 3 of them. Not going to get it done, but they were able to get it done, and that's shame on the Lions. Jared Goff on the other side, throwing the ball 57 times and only completing 38 of them. Only completing 38. Less than 66%. And 338 yards don't mean nothing to me when you throw it 57 times. Average 5.9. Now that's the difference. Jimmy Garoppolo averaged almost 13 yards a pass, and Jared Goff almost 6. Yeah, he got the 3 touchdowns, but he also turned the ball over with 1 interception. Now, mind you, San Francisco's defense actually got at him too. They sacked him 3 times. So he's putting up these stats, but at the same token, it just ain't efficient. Just ain't efficient. He didn't get the help that San Francisco gave him on the ground. Jamal Williams did try to help with 9 carries for 54 yards, but DeAndre Swift he actually didn't have a good game. 11 carries for 39 yards. So combined, the run game wasn't the problem, but at the same token, they got to do better than this, man. They have to do better than this. Their receivers caught balls at a mediocre rate across the board. TJ Hawkinson, that's my guy. on fantasy. He got 8 balls for 97 yards and a touchdown, 10 targets. He's going to eat every week. But that's why I picked him in that's why I traded for him in fantasy, because Detroit Lions, man, Jared Goff, he's going to be throwing that ball all day. So my guy's going to eat. So if you're in our fantasy league, I got Waller and Hockenson. Both of them put up almost 30 points in fantasy, and every week they will because of their situation. And either one of them's on a trade block. Send your offers, all right? Send your offers. Or I might keep both of them and put one of them in the flex. They doing better than running backs and receivers combined. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. But yeah, Detroit didn't fumble the ball. That's why I mean, San Francisco gave the ball up 3 times and Detroit did once, and San Francisco still demolished them. It's just not good. Lions got some work to do. San Francisco had cushion with turnovers. That means they may be more solid than we think. And then on top of it, 3 turnovers by the running backs, and they still put up 41 and win. They got a little cushion. I can't knock them for that. You want to be sharp against the great teams, though. You can't turn it over like that. You just cannot turn it over like that, man. But there you go. San Francisco beat the Lions. Let's keep it moving, ladies and gentlemen. Cardinals and Titans. We streamed that game, man. The Titans just straight up got blown out. Okay. Ryan Tannehill looked like the Miami Dolphins Ryan Tannehill when he didn't have any protection. Not good enough to get it done without a good O-line in front of him. And that's the story for some quarterbacks. It's just a story. Tyler Lewan, the all-pro left tackle, he actually had to go on Twitter after the game and tell everybody that he let him down because he allowed 5 sacks from Jones alone. I mean, it was an onslaught, y'all. The man allowed 5 sacks by himself at the left tackle. I mean, if you watched him, he just got blown by and got beat up. He had to go on Twitter and say, I got my A kick today. Thank you to Jones for kicking my whatever, because it's only going to make me better. I mean, man, y'all should, I don't know if y'all saw the game, but it was just horrific. Horrific. Tannehill had like less than 50%. I mean, I guess it was greater. He had like 60% completion, only 212 yards, 6 sacks, 56 yards, and he threw an interception. And that's not going to get it done. That's just bad play. That's just bad play, man. Derrick Henry also just terrible. That O-line just ain't the same anymore. Derrick Henry, 17 carries, 58 yards. This is the Marcus Mariota, Tennessee. They got to do better than this, man. In the run game, in the receiving game, didn't do much either. Julio Jones literally dropped like 3 passes in the game that were right in his hands, like literally. Like he was like, oh man, I don't know what was up with Julio. He caught 3 catches for 29 yards. This team, it just A.J. Brown dropped some too. He was 4 for 8. And Tannehill misfired a few of those, the Brown that I remember. And Tannehill had both fumbles, and those can't happen. He got to protect that ball better, man. Just not good play by Tannehill. Kyler Murray, on the other hand, just looked amazing, but it wasn't as efficient as people would think. Kyler Murray had only 60, he was like 64% completion. That's actually not phenomenal. You know, you got these other guys running 75% completion. Kyler Murray was only like 64 or something like that percent completion. But he did put up 289 yards, which is really good. 9 yards per play, but 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. And I didn't like that throw by him. You know, that's that Wild Wild West Cowboy stuff, but he still got it done. Only got sacked twice for 9 yards. So solid day by Kyler Murray. They didn't do much, on the ground, but collectively they got it done on the ground. You know, Chase Edmonds, 12 carries for 63 yards. James Conner, 16 carries for 53 yards. Collectively, they figured out a way to get it done because Kyler Murray added 5 rushes for 20 yards. But in the air, man, they had a balanced game. No one over 100 yards, but D-Hop, 6 receptions for 83. Christian Kirk caught every ball that was thrown his way, which was 5, and had 70 yards in the game. 70 yards in the game. Somebody said, could Arizona D be that good? It could be. But at the same token, their secondary played very well. But a large part of that was because of the pass rush, got there really quick. And Jones just dominated. Like, y'all got to think about it. You take away those 2 fumble sacks, it would have been a much tighter game, and you don't know which way it would have went. Those sacks just continue to be momentum sacks, and Tennessee still had chances up until like the third quarter, the middle of the third. So their defense could be that good, but we got to watch this a little longer to see. Or is Tennessee's offensive line regressing that bad? You know, because Jones wasn't the only one dialing up pressure. It was coming from everywhere. I mean, the very first play of the game for Tannehill was a play action. He faked the handoff. He turned around and got blasted. Nobody even guarded the defensive end coming off the edge. And Tannehill just turned around and was like, how is this possible? Tried to get rid of the ball, but it was a fumble. First play of the game. Turned around and was like, how is this possible? Bam. Got nailed. Nobody guarded. Nobody. But that's what they're going to do to Tannehill now, because if you look at that first year, he had a lot of fake handoffs, turned around, and nobody was coming. They were going after Derrick Henry. But now the smart teams are sending that defensive end straight to him, even if they hand it off to Derrick Henry, because plays like that can happen, especially if they don't stunt the center around to pick it up. But yeah, Arizona blows out Tennessee. Impressive. A lot of AFC teams lost, man. I don't know if the whole AFC played the AFC or we had some cross-divisional games. I think so. It looks like the entire AFC played the AFC in opening week. I'm not sure if I see any AFC versus NFC. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. But it looked like a lot of AFC losses I'm seeing. But y'all hit that like button. We got 191 people rocking with us this morning, actually 193. Punch that like button because we got less than 100 likes. Y'all go ahead and hit that like button, all right? Let's keep it moving as we're moving towards the back end. Seattle versus the Colts. This was a more competitive game than it seems because Seattle wins 28-16. Seattle's defense just played great football. They didn't let Carson Wentz do enough. But Russell Wilson, man, 18-23. 18-23. That might be one of the most efficient games in the NFL. That's what you call balance. That's like 77% completion. Ridiculous. 254 yards, 11 per, and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did get sacked 3 times. For 13 yards. See, everybody's getting sacked, y'all. 3 sacks for 13 yards, and he got a line to protect him. They'd be max protection. Man, 152 rating. Just a great, efficient day. Those are the games I want to see Tua have because Russell Wilson only had 254 yards, and that's like Tua's good game to me. That to like, I mean, not good game, but that's a really solid game for Tua if he only throws the ball 23 times or 25 times. I'll give Tua. That would be a solid game. I would like to see him around what Russell Wilson put up. He may not have as many completions, maybe 2 less or something like that on an average, but that would be a solid game for him. 4 touchdowns, man, 0 interceptions. He scored every point in the game. Chris Carson, 16 carries, 91 yards, averaged 5.7 per carry, led the way on the ground. They ran for 140 yards, man. They just had great balance. Tyler Lockett only caught the ball 4 times, but 100 yards, 25 per. And that's on 5 targets. DK Metcalf, same thing, 4 receptions on 5 targets, 60 yards, 15 per. They just had a well-rounded, balanced game. Now, Chris Carson did fumble the ball once, and he lost that, so they turned it over once. They did turn the ball over once, and that's something that you definitely don't want to happen. But that's a great game. Those are team stats are really great, minus the turnover. They didn't make enough mistakes. Now the Colts, on the other hand, 25 of 38, not terrible by Wentz, but not the best, and that comes with 251 yards. Y'all see how much different that is? 66% completion. Throw the ball 38 times to get 250, but Russell Wilson throws it literally 15 times less to get the same yards. That's your difference maker. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also got sacked 3 times for 28 yards. Again, everybody gets sacked, y'all. Everybody. We complain so much about ours. Everybody does. All right, their running game was, okay. Jonathan Taylor, 17 carries, 56 yards. Nyheim Hines, 9 carries, 34 yards. Carson Wentz, 4 carries, 23 yards. And their receivers, the best receiver was Jonathan Taylor, which was their running back, 6 receptions, 60 yards. Their receivers didn't help at all. They did not get it done. They just didn't get it done. Carson Wentz also fumbled and lost, so that offsets Russell Wilson. They just had a much better all-around game. Seattle starts out the season looking sharp in a 28-16 victory over the Indianapolis Colts. And I think that's the NFC versus the AFC. And AFC weren't getting wins. I'm backwards. I mean, they were taking losses yesterday. They were taking losses. All right. Moving right along. We coming up to the end. We got the Chargers versus the Washington football team. Ryan Fitzpatrick goes out with an injury. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. I think it's a hip injury. Justin Herbert threw the ball 47 times. I really don't like that. But that's what they're going to do over there. And it's only 31 completions. He had about 66% completion. That's average. But 337 yards, 7.2 yards per reception. A lot better than a lot of guys in the league, but could do better. Only 1 touchdown and 1 interception. So I feel like he had an average day, but they did put the team on his shoulders instead of the run game. Because to throw 47 times, they put the team on your shoulder. He had a rating of 85, which is solid, I guess. Solid day, I guess. I think Tua had a 70-something, if I'm not mistaken. I'll see it when we come to it. But the rushing game, they just didn't do very well. They were under 100 yards combined for the team. Austin Eckler, 15 carries for 57 yards. And Larry Roundtree, 8 carries for 27 yards. Just didn't help out enough on the ground, even though they still got the victory. But the receiver, Keenan Allen, oh boy. 9 receptions for 100 yards on 13 targets. Mike Williams, 8 receptions for 82 yards on 12 targets. Jared Cook, 5 receptions for 56 yards on 8 targets. Jalen Gooden, 3 receptions for 49 yards on 5 targets. And KJ Hill, 3 receptions, 30 yards on 3 targets, caught them all. And they got a few more guys caught some balls, but the receiving core, they eating across the board. But they did fumble twice and lost 1, which was Herbert. Herbert lost 1 fumble because he got sacked twice, but he did lose a fumble. Okay, so Herbert gets sacked twice. I think if y'all say Tua got sacked twice, so the same amount of times. But good game, not great, not very good, but good game from Herbert. He gets the victory 20-16 over Washington. Taylor Heineke comes in to replace Ryan Fitzpatrick. It wasn't a bad performance, man. The kid had a 119 rating. He was looking good in that game, better than Fitz started. He was 11 of 15, had a good completion percentage for 122 yards and a touchdown. And a backup coming in early in the game, he didn't throw any interceptions. And that's strong, man. The Washington ground game helped out. 20 carryovers from Antonio Gibson for 90 yards, 27 yards per carry. And they helped out quite a bit, man. The receivers, they didn't do so good, but they spread it around. Terry McLaurin, 4 receptions, 62 yards on 4 targets, caught every ball. Logan Thomas also caught every ball, 3 receptions for 3 targets, 30 yards. And overall, they also fumbled 3 times, and they lost 1 of them. So they definitely got to do better in the turnover department, even though they were lucky to get 2 of those fumbles back. All right. Shout out to DP7 with the donation. Said, TD, you doing a great job, bro. What you think about the New England cornerbacks took a shot at Tua on Instagram on taking away his first read? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. I wanted yesterday to be all positive. I want today to break down how every player did. And tomorrow we'll get into some of the criticism stuff as we transition Thursday into looking forward to Buffalo. That's my plan in that regards. But I will say this about what New England said. It's not news. It's I'm going to be honest. Everybody can get in their feelings and cry all they want. It's not news. Everybody knows what J.C. Jackson said was 100% a fact. I've been telling y'all that for a year and a half now. LSU's secondary told you that in college when they beat them. Clemson told you that on national television in college when you beat them. They literally, players in college have come on the screen and said, all we got to do is take away his first read. When he's looking down the middle of the field, whatever way he's looking, go the opposite way because he's just trying to get you off with his mechanics. And he's going to try to go to his first read. And if it's not there, he's going to throw the ball. I've been telling y'all this and y'all kill me for it. That's 3 different occasions where actual players that he's played against in defenses have said the exact same thing. And when I watch film, I've come up with the same conclusion. Before I came up with that conclusion on film before I heard any 3 of them say that. I went and evaluated Tua's game and I said, here's my issue. When that first read ain't there, he doesn't go through his progressions well enough. And then when he sees somebody that ain't even open, he may throw it anyway. And that's where I started being critical of him. I was more critical then. I was like, he's a one-read quarterback. And then I saw LSU. When they beat them in that big game, they came on national TV and said, yeah, we knew we would beat Tua. All we had to do was exactly what J.C. Jackson said. Clemson then came out when they beat them, said the same thing. And now J.C. Jackson said the same thing. It's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all beat me up for just being critical and telling y'all what I found on camera, and 3 different defenses said the same thing. But y'all, you hating on Tua. I'm just telling y'all what I see. This was my concern pre-draft. This is why I said I wouldn't have drafted him at 5, but I would have drafted him at 9 or 8 or later, because everybody between 8 and 1 I felt had better value at the time with what we needed. And people killed me. But it is what it is. We'll get on that later, okay? I guess I just addressed it anyway. But Washington, yeah, man, they got to do better, especially they're going to struggle. Ryan Fitzpatrick out, this young quarterback, Taylor. Did have a bad game, but definitely not enough, putting up 16 points, man. So Chargers get the W. It wasn't in the most pretty fashion because they only put up 20 points. But, hey, once again, they put up 20. They got it done. We put up 17 and got it done. All right? So young quarterbacks play well, okay? All right, now that Jets-Panthers game, don't need to talk much about the this game other than the simple fact that the Carolina Panthers just beat the Jets. I mean, that's simple. I'm just shocked that it was that tough to beat them. I'm shocked that it took that much to beat them. Zach Wilson, 20 of 37. Not a great day. 258 yards, though, on 37. 7 yards per, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Sacked 6 times, y'all. See, and 51 yards. See, these guys are going through it. But Zach Wilson, overall, his game wasn't bad. He had an 82 rating, 82.9. Gosh, how are all these guys got better rating than my quarterback? Anyway, rushing yards, they did nothing. They only ran for 45 yards. I'm telling y'all, if they just had a decent run game, they might have won this game. So technically, Zach Wilson didn't have an efficient day in receptions, but he still put up 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, but he got sacked 6 times. The receivers, Corey Davis, 5 receptions for 97 yards. That's great. That's why they brought him in. Braxton Berrios, 5 receptions for 51 yards. Denzel Mims, 1 reception for 40. It wasn't a bad passing day. I mean, they threw for around the same yards as us. But Zach Wilson fumbled on one of them sacks as well. And the Carolina Panthers, Sam Darnold, he had a more efficient day, 24-35, and still threw only 279 yards. 8 yards per, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, only sacked 1 time. That's the difference in that game. He was protected. Was sacked 1 time. He had a 102 rating. Their running game put up 111 yards. Christian McCaffrey, 21 carries for 98. They got help on the ground. Receivers, Christian McCaffrey caught 9 balls on 9 targets for 89 yards. DJ Moore, 6 receptions for 80 yards on 8 targets. And Robbie Anderson, only 1 reception, but it went for 57. Sam Darnold fumbled once and lost it. So this was a slugfest. I'm not impressed with either team. But I'm going to be honest with you, Zach Wilson, that's not a bad game for a rookie. Not great, but it also ain't bad. It's about average. It's actually, I would say it's actually good, just like the other one. So Carolina gets the W over the Jets, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's see if we can speed it up just a little because I only got 13 minutes left. And we got, let me see, 7 more games. So let's speed her up. Well, y'all already know about the Dolphins. All right. But so 6 more. So let's continue here. Where are we? All right. Jacksonville and Texans. What is going on? You would think that the Jags would be taking the next step. That's why I'm glad we play them. And the Texans are looking a little formidable, and we play them too, I think. Trevor Lawrence, 28 of 51. Not good, but he did put up 338 yards. He had a 70 rating. 6.5 per, 3 touchdowns, but he threw 3 picks. If he didn't throw the picks, he'd have a really good rating. But he threw 3 interceptions. Got no help on the ground. All-purpose rushing, 76 yards from the team. Carlos Hyde, 9 carries for 44 yards. Just terrible. Receivers spread out. DJ Chark led the way with 3 receptions, 86 yards on 12 targets. Marvin Jones, who was my guy in fantasy, 5 receptions, 77 yards, and a touchdown on 9 opportunities. 21 points. It's not going to get it done. But Houston, Tyrod Taylor, like 66% completion, 291 yards, 8.8 per, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, only sacked once, 112 rating, balled out. Not a crazy completion percentage, but balled out. Great run game. Mark Ingram, 26 carries, 85 yards. Tyrod Taylor, that's where the element he brings. 4 carries for 40 yards. They just ate. Wide receivers, Brandon Cook, 5 receptions, 132 yards on 7 targets. Pharaoh Brown, 4 receptions on 5 targets, 67 yards. Danny Amendola caught every ball, 5 for 5 for 34 yards. Chris Conley caught every ball, 2 for 2, 27 yards. David Johnson, 3 out of 4 receptions for 18 yards. Them receivers were eating. But they playing the Jags secondary. Yeah, ain't nobody impressed. We'll keep an eye on this situation. Well, it's the Jags. We ain't impressed. But Houston, congratulations. You beat another trash team, but it shows that you've gotten better somehow. Somehow. All right, let's keep it going. Browns, Chiefs, another game of the week. Just crazy game. Browns found a way to lose, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't like this game. I don't think the Chiefs win this game if their safety not kicked out of the game in like the first quarter. I don't think they win this game if the safety's not kicked out in the first quarter. It was just bogus. Did y'all see that crap? The safety is on the sideline after a tackle. He's getting up and about to walk away, but one of his right foot trips over the defender and it brings him back and it makes his leg land on the runner's chest on the ground, and the defensive coach pushes the player and he pushes him back and they eject him from the game. It was just a terrible call. Terrible. He wasn't intentionally standing over the man. He was trying to walk away, but as he was walking away, his leg got caught by the player and it caused him to step on the player's chest. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that mess? I think if that safety was in the game, a lot of that stuff the Chiefs did late would have never happened, having their starting safety back there. But Baker Mayfield, 21 of 28, 75% completion, 321 yards, 11 per. But 0 touchdowns, y'all. 1 interception, 2 sacks. But he still had a 97 rating with no touchdown because they had a great game plan handing that ball off where they needed to. That's a really good game by Baker Mayfield, honestly. It ain't about the touchdowns if you handing it off for touchdowns all game, because they ran for 4 touchdowns. Nick Chubb, 15 carries for 83 yards, 5.5 per, and with 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt, 6 carries, 33 yards, 5.5 per, 1 touchdown. Anthony, 1 carry for 17 yards. And Jarvis Landry, 2 carries, 13 yards, 6.5 per, 1 touchdown. They ran a lot of them in. But them receivers had a balanced game across the board. Everybody caught something. Jarvis Landry caught everything, 5 for 5 for 71 yards. Nobody over 100 because it was spread around. And Patrick Mahomes, 27 of 36. He wasn't as efficient as Baker. 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 sacks, 131 rating. Overall, still a great game. And they didn't run the ball much at all. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 14 carries, 43 yards. Not going to get it done. That's their game plan, though. But Tyreek Hill, 11 receptions out of 15 targets, 197 yards, man. Travis Kelce, 6 receptions, 76 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It's crazy. It was a thriller, came down to the end. Both of these teams you got to worry about as contenders because they both are contenders. They are both contenders. They are both contenders. Bro, why you be hating on Kansas City? I'm not hating on Kansas City. Kansas City is top 3 team in the NFL, period. How can I be hating on that? Unless you're talking about somebody else. In the comment section. Anyway, Dolphins game, we already know everything we need to know about that game. We've already done every breakdown there is known. I just been noticing what the other quarterbacks have been doing. And our quarterback had a 79.6 rating. Out of these, man, so far, that's honestly from what I've been seeing, that's like out of about, we've probably already did about 24 quarterbacks. That's probably the 4th lowest so far. 4th lowest rating so far is about 79.6. Not a terrible game, just not the best. 202 yards, 202. But that's all right, man. We got the W. Tua will be better as well. That's all that matters. We got the W. Let's keep it going. Time is dwindling down. We might run over a few minutes because I want to finish these. I got 4 more games to go. All right, here we go. Packers Saints, ladies and gentlemen. The Packers versus Saints. Green Bay just got demolished. I really don't even want to talk much about this game other than the Saints. Jameis Winston showing everybody I got eye surgery. I told y'all that's what the issue was. We'll keep our eye on it. And the crazy thing is he only threw the ball 20 times. You talking about balance? They ran the ball 39 times. 39 rushes. Alvin Kamara, 20 rushes, 83 yards. Tony Jones, 11 rushes, 50 yards. Jameis, 6 rushes, 37 yards. Taysom Hill, 2 rushes, 1 yard. They ran the ball all over Green Bay. 171 yards combined. Jameis Winston only had 148 passing yards, but it was very efficient. 68% completion. And the receivers did well. Let me tell y'all the efficiency in it. Deontay Harris, 2 for 2, 72 yards. Juwan Johnson, 3 for 3, 21 yards. Like, when they play action or when they played it that way, they got what they wanted. And they let the run game lead the way. Aaron Rodgers, 15 to 28, lowest quarterback rating in the league, just about 36-8, terrible. 2 interceptions, no touchdown. He checked out, man. He checked out. I don't need to talk about more of that. He checked out. And now I'm telling y'all, if they start losing where it don't look like they're going to make the playoffs, they're going to trade him before the season over. And if Washington gets a few victories while they wait on Fitz, it's teams like that might just do it. Might do it. All right? Denver Broncos versus the New York Giants. All right? In this game, man, Denver beat the Giants. They just 27-13. Daniel Jones, not an efficient day, 22 of 37, 267, touchdown, no interceptions, 2 sacks, but overall he had a 90 rating. I know I keep looking at the efficiency of the completions, but he had a 90 rating. Still put up 267 yards. Teddy Bridgewater balled out, though, 28 of 36, 264 yards, 2 sacks, 115 rating. Melvin Gordon, 11 carries, 101 yards. Javonte Williams, 14 carries, 45 yards. Saquon Barkley did nothing, 10 carries for 26 yards. Thankfully, I didn't get him in fantasy. New York just looked like a problem. Like they got issues. Sterling Shepard, the only thing that's going for him was 7 receptions, 113 yards. And the Broncos had a very balanced day in the pass game. Jerry Jeudy led the way, 6 receptions, 7 targets, 72 yards. Denver did fumble and lose 1. Daniel Jones fumbled and lost 1 as well. But at the end of the day, the Giants just look like they're not going to be a good team. But we'll let that play out and see how it ends up. All right, we'll see how it ends up. All right, let's see. Let's move right along. All right, we got 2 games left. Chicago Bears versus the LA Rams, y'all. Let me say this, man. I truly do think that Chicago need to just stop playing and go ahead and start Fields. Not that Andy Dalton was horrific, but he wasn't great at all. Honestly, he had them 2 numbers. 27 to 38, 206 yards, 5 yards per, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, 3 sacks, 73 rating. Justin Fields, 2 of 2, 10 yards, 5 per, 87.5 rating. Just start your future. David Montgomery rushed for 16 carries, 108 yards. You got contribution on the ground. And your receivers, no need to mention them, other than Marquise Godwin, who caught 4 of 4, 44 yards, and he led the way. Just terrible. They need to go ahead and start their young guy. Plus, Andy Dalton fumbled, and they lost that fumble. They got blown out. Blown out. This is embarrassing. Matthew Stafford, great game, though. Highly efficient. 20 of 26, 321 yards, 12.3 per, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 156.1 rating, 1 sack. I think him and Russell Wilson got the same rating. I got to go check Russell Wilson's again, but Russell Wilson was 150 something. Top quarterbacks of the week, I believe. Man. Run game didn't do very well. Leading rusher, 16 carries for 17 yards. Nobody else did nothing. Receivers, Cooper Kupp, 7 receptions, 108 out of 10 targets. Van Jefferson, 2 receptions, 80 yards out of 3 targets. Tyler Higbee, 5 receptions, 68 yards out of 6 targets. Man, Los Angeles is a contender. At least so far they are. And I know we've come up on the 8 o'clock hour and we're about to end the stream. But I have to, last night, Baltimore Ravens, Las Vegas Raiders. That was a crazy game. Y'all saw the game last night. I'm not going to talk about it much, but what a crazy game. Baltimore, oh my gosh, they trash. You are not going to find a team in the NFL that gives you as many opportunities to win the game as the Raiders gave you. The Raiders gave you every opportunity known to man to win that game. Every opportunity known to man to win that game. After they won the game, they gave you a chance to win it. First and goal from the 1, overturned it. Everybody already taking their defeat. And they gave you a chance, and they screwed that up. Screwed that up, and you got the ball back. You deserve to lose. And Lamar Jackson is trash throwing the ball. Y'all got to call it what it is. I told y'all this last night. The reason why you roll with Lamar Jackson is because he's good enough to make plays with his legs, and that offsets his inability to throw the ball accurately consistently. Everybody going to throw the ball and make plays here and there like he did last night on the deep ball and a few, deep crossing routes or mid-range crossing routes. But he consistently threw the ball inaccurately in that game. Every short pass known to man was too far, too low, too behind, too in front. Rarely you saw a pass right in a player's chest, and they were short passes. His deficiencies throwing the ball are made up with him running the ball. He ran for 12 carries and 86 yards. It makes up for it, y'all. And you live with that. And that's fine for a team. But when you pay him big money, that's when you're screwing up. When you give him that money, you screw up, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, man, thank y'all for tuning in to Wake Up with TD in the morning. Thank y'all. Y'all hit that like button on your way out. Make sure you go check out Clock Blockers. They should be starting their live right now. The intro music is probably running. If you like Miami Dolphins content, go check out Clock Blockers morning show right now. They are live right now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for tuning in this morning. Today, by the way, quickly, I'm gonna finish working on the player grades from PFF. And we're going to do a few shows today on those player grades. We're going to talk about each player. Then we're going to start doing videos on the position groups. So today I'm going to give you every single player's overall grade. We're going to do a stream of that. And then we're going to do some streams on the individual position groups, like the breakdowns. All right. So you can see a deeper dive into it. All right. Thank y'all so much. I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in to Wake Up with TD in the morning. Peace. I am out. I will see y'all soon after Clock Blockers. I should be done with it and be live. So I'll see y'all around 10 o'clock. All right. Peace. I'm out.